Hey everyone, Jeff here with the Death Star Human Resources Department podcast. We have a fun one today. I am joined by Spencer Jawitz, the Chief Shenanigans Officer of the Virtual Cantina Network. Spencer, thanks a lot for coming on today.
Jeff, thank you so much for reaching out to me and having me on your show today. It's nice to be brought to HR without something bad happening. So thank you very much for including me in this.
Yeah, I like to think Death Star HR is the only good email you ever get from HR.
Well, that's great, but I'm also kind of nervous because at Rebel ScumCon, Dolores is going to be there, so I just don't want to be cited.
You know, I actually reached out to her and I never heard back, and I kind of thought, I just want to let her know, I came up with this name independently of seeing her shtick. Because I think she's hilarious. I love the Dolores character. I think it's great. And I was like, I emailed her and I was like, I bet she thinks I'm stealing her bit. I promise I'm not.
No, but it'd be great. But I know she's gonna have a table at Rebel ScumCon in the community fan area. So that'd be nice to actually have talk shop between HR.
Yes, I am definitely going to talk to her at Rebel ScumCon. But we are getting a little ahead of ourselves. We'll definitely get to Rebel ScumCon, but first off, I want to say you are, as I said, you are the Chief Shenanigans Officer of the Virtual Cantina Network. For people who don't know what that is, could you kind of give a little overview of what you guys do?
So the Virtual Cantina Network is the owners and the operators of the world's largest Star Wars Celebration fan page with over 100,000 members worldwide. So we start off obviously as a community that kept the spirit of celebration going on, 24/7, 365, because there's a lot of Facebook pages out there for celebration, which is great, but they die down in the off season. And we decided as, one, we want to keep the community going. And then obviously during COVID, we were all fiending for something. So we decided to go more and we started doing podcasts and during the COVID time, just to keep people interested in Star Wars. Also, weekly Zooms to make sure how people are doing. So we became a podcasting network on top of everything else that we were doing. And then after COVID, we just kept going. So really, we're just a hub for the community to be in a safe, supportive environment within Star Wars that they can watch our shows, do watch-alongs, and obviously with events like Celebration or even like Rebel ScumCon, we'll have our own Boonta Eve events, which we'll talk more about, to basically be almost like a family reunion. But really what it comes down to is at the end of the day, we're just a hype train for Celebration, and everything else we do for it leads to Celebration.
I will definitely say this, Celebration tickets went on sale a couple months ago. It was definitely helpful, I think, your page for kind of learning what to do, especially for somebody like myself who has never been to Celebration before. There was a lot of good information, and everybody on there was really helpful.
Well, we greatly appreciate that. When we first started the page back in 2016, 2017, getting ready for Orlando for the 40th anniversary, very much so, it was me doing a lot of the research for my own anxiety. And then okay, this is what I found out just by reading. And so I was just I might as well share it. And then 10 years plus later, everybody that I helped is giving the same information that I would have given 10 years ago. But I'm also still learning stuff. So I'm adding to my artillery as well and just passing that on. So if we can help someone like you who's never been to a celebration, then great. I can also tell you that if you plan for Celebration, every other show you go to, no matter what show, is easy because Celebration stands alone by itself. You could plan for New York Comic-Con or San Diego Comic-Con, and they're still easier than Celebration.
I would not say that Celebration was easy this year. So actually, let me ask you that. Given, I think, kind of the well-publicized ticketing issues, at least from some people's perspective of Celebration this year, that people, you were basically, for anybody who didn't try, you basically logged on, you got thrown in a queue, you could have been the first person, you could have been the last person in line, you just had no idea. Where did you think this kind of ranked as easy or hard compared to Celebrations in the past?
So there's a lot of things going up into this particular one. If you want to think about from there, first and foremost, I was in line. I had the link an hour and a half before I went live. And I still didn't get in until 30 minutes after it started. But people who I gave the link to got in like right away. So it was random. But if you're also looking at this is the first celebration back in 2 celebrations in the United States. We had London in 23. We had Japan in 25. So people are itching for a celebration. That's the first thing. Second thing is it's the 50th anniversary of Star Wars in Los Angeles. So the opportunity to potentially have incredible guests, not only just in the Argyle Hall, but also potentially in panels, is unreal. Someone I know who worked for Reed Pop said that at one time in the waiting room, there was over 100,000 people waiting in that room. So right there alone, I listen, people are going to say scalpers. That's going to happen no matter where you go. It's just the nature of the beast. You could be going to see Metallica or Taylor Swift, and there's going to be scalpers in there or bots or anything of that nature. One thing that I thought was humorous is that no matter where I am in the fandom or anything of that nature, I don't get comped. I buy my tickets as much as the next person. And I got in 30 minutes after the doors open, and I could only get single tickets for each day. I couldn't even get a 4-day. So I'm paying $400+ just for my own personal tickets, whereas I would have paid $2 and change if it was a singular ticket. I mean, a single 4-day. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, I understand. But also I remember in Chicago 2019, 100% of the tickets sold out in 2 minutes. In 2 hours. Literally 2 hours for all VIP 5 days. It was 5 days for Chicago and all single tickets. So the fact that we actually had tickets over 2 hours is still pretty impressive. But people are going to complain no matter what. What I'm going to be interested in finding out is that right after London, Reed Pop's secondary market company Light went out of business. So I'll be intrigued to find out what they plan to do, if anything, for this time.
I mean, I would have to think. I know the ticket, when you bought the ticket, it said they're non-transferable. You can't resell them, all that stuff. I would be shocked if they don't come up with something simple, because I also, read online, people were emailing Reed Pop and whatnot. And Reed Pop was saying, if we are catching scalpers on eBay or something, we are revoking their tickets. I don't know what the status of any of that is. I feel like I saw those kind of posts for a couple days and they kind of went away.
So today, I know that the secondary sales for merchandise go on sale. Right now it's 1:09 p.m. on the East Coast. They're saying 12 p.m. Central that the link's going to go out for people who did not get merchandise the first time because people were freaking out, which is great. I will say that in past celebrations, when we were getting closer to when, like, for example, the lottery system is going to come out for panels and also for the store, you were able, if you bought for other people, you were able to transfer the tickets to that person so they were able to go and get into the lottery system. For whatever panel. So I would imagine that maybe closer to the end of the year, they're going to allow that. I've been checking Rotix, which is the ticket company that all of our tickets are based upon, to see if they've already allowed the transfer element. Because I know, for example, I have some friends who bought tickets from somebody else who want to get into the lottery because obviously they want to be part of the 50th anniversary panel or the Ahsoka panel or Starfighter panel or whatever panel, plus also, Funko or Lego or anything of that nature. So that's going to be available eventually anyway, and that's going to be the way that transferable tickets are done the right way. Even though they say they're not transferable, technically they're saying they are. It's just whether or not you trust the person on the other end. I can tell you that right now and it won't change, within the virtual Cantina network, there are no sales or transfers within the
Yes.
page just because we decided a long time ago we can't regulate.
Yeah.
So if that gets screwed up, we offer the thing that we're kind of held liable, sort of like no across the board.
Yeah.
We don't want to deal with it. We don't want to know about it, but we'll tell you the legal way to do it. Just trust who you're going with before you even do it. It's just not going to be
Yeah.
on our page.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. That's something you let that go. You know, somebody has a bad experience, and then suddenly it's your fault that it happened.
Exactly.
You know, to do with
we get heat for everything else. I just don't need it for that.
Right, right. I mean, if there is one thing Star Wars fans love, it's something to complain about.
I've actually had this conversation with several members of Lucasfilm, and we both agree no one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. So
yes,
and they know that.
that is funny. I actually referenced that in I think last week's DSHR that I try to maintain a more positive outlook. Just
Exactly.
because, like, if I want to find something negative about Star Wars, there are plenty of subreddits, there are plenty of Twitter feeds, there are plenty of, you know, YouTube channels that I can find that if that's what I want, and that's not really what I enjoy. So
No, exactly.
So why bother?
But look at it like this. George wrote these stories for 12-year-olds as a response to the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm.
If we're in our middle ages right now arguing over kids' property, we kind of really need to get over ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the argument I have with people who are complaining about the Mandalorian Grogu movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was written as a gateway for someone who's never seen Star Wars, and it's for kids. It literally is a standalone project that is a gateway. Or people to be like, okay, cool. If you're going to argue about that, then there's plenty of other things that you should really be arguing about than a freaking movie.
Yeah, I said it was interesting because it really felt like it was a Star Wars product that was not for me.
Right.
In the sense, like, all Star Wars products are for me because I'm a middle-aged man with disposable income.
Right.
But, you know, when I saw it on IMAX, my wife and I went, and sitting next to us, there was a dad and his probably, I don't know, maybe like 8 to 10-year-old daughter, and she had a Mandalorian mask and a blue lightsaber. And I could kind of see her out of the corner of my eye, like when kind of an action scene would start up, she'd kind of like lean forward, like she would, you know, and like the big battle at the end, like she did that, and like she had her lights, like her hand on her lightsaber, and I'm sure her dad told her, you absolutely cannot light your lightsaber up during the movie.
Listen, I enjoyed the movie for what it was. I didn't expect it to be anything more than it was, and it was nice to go back to the theater and actually see Star Wars. And I don't care what it is. I'm happy to go to the theater and watch Star Wars, even if it's the 50th time I'm seeing it in the theater, 20 years later, or if it's the first time like Mandalorian Grogu. Just going to the theater, it's a communal event. When you see, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, whether, that was not obviously part of Mandalorian Grogu, but people cheer. People cheer when they see the Lucasfilm logo, come up on the screen. So to me, that's what Star Wars really is about.
No, I agree completely. Like it was just a lot of fun to be back in the theater. Like it reinforces to me that Star Wars is meant to be seen on the big screen. Like it's great that we've had, Mando and Andor and Obi-Wan, all the streaming shows.
Sure.
And they've been a blast to watch. I love that I can just like sit down and watch original Star Wars basically whenever I want. But like, yeah, going back to the theater, it's been so long, and just seeing that back on the big screen was really, it was a lot of fun. And I just, like, I agree with you. Like the movie was what it was. And it's a fun summer popcorn movie was what
exactly. That's like, exactly how I call it.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody about it. I was just like, not everything has to be Andor. Like, we will never see another Andor again, but that's kind of a whole other topic. But
Andor was fantastic. I mean,
yes.
I mean, I come from a theater background initially, so the slow burn of season 1 was brilliant in my mind.
Yes.
And then how season 2 just came on and just hammered that crap down. I was just like, that was to me, that was the adult Star Wars that I wanted. That was like Dunkirk. It was like, it was the gritty Star Wars that the Gen Xers were itching for. I didn't need a lightsaber, and honestly, I didn't need a Skywalker.
Yes.
To me, it was just like real life. I mean, I joke all the time that my favorite scene in the prequels is actually Dexter's Diner in Attack of the Clones
Hmm.
because it's real life in the middle of a galaxy far, far away. And
Right.
this
Right.
was like real life within a galaxy far, far away that seemed familiar to me.
Yeah.
So to me, Andor was a stroke of brilliance.
Yeah. I kind of would usually compare it to a like a John Le Carre novel. Like it just
Yeah.
has that slow burn to it. And I saw some people who were like, "Oh, there's not enough action." I was like, that's a deliberate choice
Mm-hmm.
because it's such a slow burn. When you do get an action sequence, it's more impactful.
Exactly. And listen, we're not going to get anything like that again. If we do get anything like that again, it's not going to be Andor, but Andor has its place. And it made me, I mean, it ended an hour before Rogue One started. So in my mind, I'm like, man, I got to go watch Rogue One now. And then at the end of Rogue One, I'm like, man, it ends 10 minutes before A New Hope starts.
Yep.
Sorry, Star Wars.
Yes.
to our generation, it's Star Wars. Then I had to go watch that, and I'm like, I'm okay with that, and it was seamless in my mind. So I was happy to watch it.
Yeah, I think it's a big galaxy. There's room for Mando and Grogu's adventures, and there's room for Andor.
Absolutely, and it should be.
All right, well, let's get somewhat on topic here. What's
kind
of the? Otherwise, we could sit and riff on Star Wars all day. What's kind of the current lineup of shows that VCN has going on? Like, what all do you have? What all can somebody go to your page and look for?
So as far as our network is concerned, we have probably 5 to 6 shows weekly on our network. Monday nights, we do have a show called Clone Wars Revisited, which includes a watch along of an episode and a breakdown of that particular episode. The precursor to that is we actually did a show called Rebels Revisited. So once Rebels was over, they moved to Clone Wars. So that's our Monday night show. Tuesday night on Zoom is what we call VCN Happy Hour, which actually came out of COVID because it was our time to go on Zoom and all of us just sit on Zoom and just talk. And also make sure that, like, hey, there are people out there. And we just kept it going because it actually was therapeutic to people, not only during COVID, but after COVID. And we would talk about, not necessarily the status of the world, but we talk about pop culture and the movies we went to see. Or sometimes, like, myself or others from my team would jump on and we would workshop ideas of things that we're going to do. So you get like an insight of where things are going for the VCN. On Wednesday nights, we have a show called the Nerf Herder Council, which we just allow. To me, I call them our Howard Sterns of the VCN. That basically allow them to be shock jocks and just basically talk about whatever they want, whether they like, you don't like, just whatever, about pop culture as well. Also, it goes against a show we call Daughters of the Galaxy, which is a female-centric Star Wars show, just talking about, women in Star Wars and the issues of women in Star Wars and characters and whatever from there. Thursday is another show that came out of COVID called the VCN Watch Along, which is basically we will watch a Star Wars property or a Star Wars adjacent property. And a lot of times we'll also have either someone from ILM or an actor come on with us and do live commentary. We're filming this today, which is on the 18th of June. Tonight, we actually have Bonnie Peace, who was Aunt Beru in the prequels and Obi-Wan Kenobi, watching the series finale of Kenobi with us. So
cool.
You get to get some insight on, Beru with a blaster, if you will, badass Beru and the Beru crew, and also talking about, how she got the job in the prequels as well. So we have a lot of that. And leading up to Rebel ScumCon, we're going to have an actor on every Thursday night with us or a crew member just talked about product that they were involved with, but they will appear at our Bunta Eve in Texas. On Friday nights, every other Friday right now, currently we have a speaker series, which is basically just a straightforward interview with somebody from ILM. 2 weeks ago, we had the legend Stuart Ziff, who was very much involved in the original trilogy and also ran the Ghost Shop for Ghostbusters, the first one in
Oh, wow.
'84, which is kind of cool. And also, if you're a Masters of the Universe fan from back in the day, the Dolph Lundgren version,
Mm-hmm.
he designed the Cosmic Key.
Oh,
So
wow.
so that's kind of cool from there. And also, we started a show called Firefly Fridays. So if you're a
Okay.
fan of Firefly, which has a lot of Star Wars influence including the fact that the person who designed the costume was Shanna Trupik, who designed the original costumes for The Mandalorian seasons 1 through 3.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
So it's a nice little like adjacent from there. So we have, and then Sundays we go between a show called The Unifying Force, which is the philosophy of Star
Mm-hmm.
Wars, and also the Jedi Archives, which actually looks at Star Wars and comic books.
Oh, cool.
So we have a full schedule. So it's a fully fledged, network of
Mm-hmm.
podcasts for people who are interested in Star Wars. So we had that going on. That's just virtually, besides whatever we do on our Facebook page, the Push Celebration or other shows. Not to mention our live events that we do on several times a year as well.
That's actually a excellent transition. So you mentioned, we talked about it at the beginning. You mentioned Rebel Scum Con. If you are not aware of it, is a Star Wars convention. It is coming this August for the third year. It's in Frisco, Texas, which is the northern suburbs of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I wrote about it last year. I went last year. I had a blast. And one of the things you guys do is the Boonta Eve celebration. So if you kind of talk a little about that, to kind of tell people what that is.
Sure. So Boonta Eve is typically our night before Star Wars Celebration event. We've been doing that since 2017 in Orlando, which was kind of funny because considering the fact that, one, that was my first celebration, and two, I decided I'm going to run an event at my first celebration just because I'm crazy like that. That came out of the fact that actually I love karaoke.
Okay.
And I posted on a page that was a precursor to the VCN saying, hey, I'm going to karaoke at Universal City Walk the night before celebration. Does anybody want to come with me? Because I didn't know anybody. I was going to Orlando by myself. Hey, do you want to come have a drink and sing some songs or whatever? And then the admins at the time said to me, hey, could we do our meetup at your event? And I was like, sure, but I already did all the work, so can I become an admin of your page? Because,
Right.
I kind of did the work for you.
Right.
So that was our first event, and it was under a different name at that time that I actually got a cease and desist for, which was actually kind of funny. And not from Lucasfilm.
Okay.
I got a cease and desist from Coachella because our event was called Forcechella. The contraction Cella is owned by the Coachella Corporation. And my argument with my lawyer was, it's not like I have a Force Goes Tupac. I'm doing a karaoke event every 2 years. They're like,
Yeah,
nope,
I mean,
we own Contraction Cella. I'm like, all right, fine. So then we were like, all right, Boonta Eve.
right.
I was like, great, okay. Which, funny enough, we actually just got the trademark for Boonta Eve.
Oh, wow.
Which was a great win for us in that capacity. So so ever since then, we've done a Boonta Eve at Chicago 19, Anaheim 22 because of obviously COVID.
Yeah.
Then we did one actually in London in 23 as part of London Star Wars Celebration. And we didn't do a Boonta Eve, but we did what we call the Not So Virtual Cantina Special Edition in Japan, which sold out in 4 minutes, which was crazy. And the reason why we call it the Not So as opposed to a Boonta is Boonta typically has karaoke at it. And we couldn't get karaoke in time for everything, so we decided to call it a different event. Though it was like Boonta Light, if you want to call it that.
Right. I'm shocked you couldn't get karaoke in Japan. I mean,
we could have, but the fact was that one was that our place was so small and we sold so much tickets, it would not have been conducive to the space from there. And also, all the DJs that we would have utilized for karaoke were so tied up with celebration that they couldn't really leave to do a 3 or 4 hour event.
Gotcha.
So we decided just not to call it Boonta, even though it was kind of Boonta. Anyway, back in 24, we did a family vacation, which we typically do on off years from Star Wars Celebration. Just to get everybody out and go do stuff. Like our first time we did it, we all went to the parks down in Florida. And that was at the tail end of COVID. So we're like, whatever park opens up first, that's where we're going. So Florida opened up before
I was going to say it was Florida. We all know.
We went to Florida for a week, which was great. In 24, we did a full trip up and down the seaboard of California, starting in Los Angeles, and we ran a Boonta Eve special edition, we called it, at Scum and Villainy in Hollywood. Before they even thought about doing the Burbank location, which opens at the end of this year. Then we went to Anaheim to do a park stay, and we're like, well, why don't we do another one in Anaheim the next day with different people? So we ran a Boonta Eve Anaheim, and then we took a bus to San Francisco to end the trip with all of us doing a family portrait, as we called it, in front of the Yoda fountain. And then we did a Boonta Eve in San Francisco with ILM people. So we did 3 Boontas in 1 week in 3 different cities.
Did you end up with laryngitis after the karaoke?
I mean, I did karaoke every night, so I was fine. But also, there's nothing that a beer can't handle. We don't condone underage drinking, by the way.
No.
But then ICC-Con, based in Nashville, was like, hey, we would love to do our own Boonta. Can you do it? We figured out the logistics of it, and we ran a small Boonta in conjunction with ICC-Con in Nashville that year. And it was a lot of fun. But it also showed us that we can attach ourselves to other cons as an additional event. So at that particular time, the people at Rebel Scum Con were planning their year 1. And for whatever reason, one reason or another, with our family vacation and just logistics, we couldn't do Rebel Scum year 1 to do a Boonta. But we did one last year at the Revel in Frisco, and it sold out. We had a line wrapping the building to get in there. We had 13 guests that were exclusive to us. That we ended up bringing a couple of the guests to Rebel Scum Con because just part of deals, we had to get extra days. So luckily, the team at Rebel Scum Con gave us some extra tables that we could do that. But we had, sabacc being played. We had 2 massive sabacc tables. We had autograph sessions. We had specialty drinks. One thing I'm very proud of, and that actually was a viral moment for us, is David W. Collins and Matthew Wood came to Boonta Eve, and with the live band karaoke, the band already knew Coming Home Major Tom because it was the Peter Schilling song from the 1980s. Well, David and Matthew had not performed the Huttese version since they did the trailer for Skeleton Crew. So the first time they've ever done it live, and also the first time they've done it since they did the recording, they did it at Boonta in Texas last year, which the place went absolutely nuts for that. And that went viral, the next day. So it's such a success for not only the Virtual Cantina Network, but also for Rebel Scum Con, that the RSC people said, well, what can we do to continue this going on? So we signed a 2-year contract with them for 26 and 27 to do Rebel Scum Con. But I can also say is that we already have our location for LA 27.
Oh, cool. Nice.
We actually booked it 2 weeks after we got back from Japan. Like, they announced LA at the final panel. We were at dinner that night talking about where we could potentially be in LA in 27. A week later, we had our list of 20 that we made at dinner that night, went to a list of 5. By the following week, I had a contract and deposit already sent out for our location in 27. So we already know where we're going to be. No, it's not public yet. We're going to announce it at the end of this year, on Black Friday, actually. So basically, right now, we saw that the model of Boonta Eve, typically with Boonta Eve for Celebration, it's an 8-hour event. We have autograph signings and meetups in the afternoon with podcasts on the stage and sabacc and all that. And at night is usually a karaoke party with a karaoke competition that we actually call Alderaan Idol.
Nice.
The special editions are typically between a 3 to 4 hour event where we condense it. That karaoke and the autograph sessions and the sabak all happen between that 3 to 4 hour period. And we saw that was actually, we could replicate that. Anywhere we go, as long as there's a strong Star Wars presence, we can do it. So we're actually, we just announced a little while ago, we're going to be doing a Boonta Eve in November at Rhode Island Comic Con. So we have 2 Boonta Eve special editions happening this year. Next year, we know we have Boonta Eve 5, which is going to be in LA. And then special edition Texas 3, whenever Rebel Scum is next year. But we're also in talks for other cons as well. Our hope is to eventually do one a quarter. So it's a big Star Wars after event. It's a party, yes, we understand that, but we want to reinvent the game to say it's an after event. And we also don't ever want to be the main event. We don't want to run our own con. If people say, "Oh, we're coming to Rebel Scum Con," but wait, there's more. We are that more that people are talking about.
Well, I have my tickets for this year at Rebel Scum Con, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. So let me ask you this: and what is your go-to karaoke song?
It ranges from year to year. If you ask me close to, like, I would say 15, 20 years ago, I actually did Come Sail Away in the voice of Eric Cartman.
I love it.
But since then, I changed it quite a bit. Obviously, at a Star Wars type event, I love to sing Saga Begins because, Saga Begins.
Right.
I love singing Cult of Personality, Living Color. I love doing Beds Are Burning from Midnight Oil. I love doing Twilight Zone from Golden Earring. So it really depends upon, what I'm going, what the crowd is going from there. Fat Bottom Girls from Queen, I
always feel it is, if you're going to do Queen, you either need to be really good or you just need to be really bad and put all your energy into it. Because, if you're going to try to do Freddie Mercury, you got to be pretty good.
It really depends upon the song. Like, if I was going to, I wouldn't say that I'm going to do Somebody to Love because of that falsetto that's in the middle of it. And if I've had a couple of drinks in me as well, I know I'm going to crack. But if you do something like Crazy Little Thing Called Love or Fat Bottom Girls, they're in the lower registers of Freddie. So I'm like, okay, I know I can't screw that up that bad.
I have a friend, this was a work event a couple jobs ago, who actually did a pretty good Bohemian Rhapsody. I was really surprised.
That's always a go-to. That's and I'm sure someone's going to try it, especially with a live band in Texas. So, have them do the Brian May guitar solo is always, a fun thing to watch.
I was going to say, I'm trying to think, like, you could have them do, I don't know, you could change it up, like, instead of All My Exes Live in Texas, you could have All My Exes Live in Tatooine or something.
Well, when I do Cult of Personality, the first time I did it for Star Wars, I did it in 22. I changed some of the lyrics to make it Star Wars-esque. like there's a line that's like Mussolini and Kennedy. I changed to like Ryan Johnson or Kennedy, or I'm every person you want to be. I changed to I'm every Sith Lord you want to be. So I'll add, like, if it comes to a Star Wars crowd, I'll change it up, a little bit for there. But it's always fun like that when you add a little bit something. When we did the family vacation in 24, someone sang I'm Just Ken from Barbie, but changed to I'm Just Ren and changed the lyrics to all Kylo lyrics, which I thought was pretty hilarious.
That's pretty good. And
that's funny considering now the fact that, Ryan Gosling's going to be in Star Wars, so
maybe he'll get a singing role in Starfighter.
That would be amazing.
All right, well, let me ask you in general, kind of what's your I always like to ask people, what's like your Star Wars origin story?
So obviously, my original are I'm a bicentennial baby, so Star Wars and me are becoming 50 years old very shortly.
Hmm.
Um, for me, initially, it was the Kenner toys, obviously, but I do have a distinct memory of my father taking me to see Empire in 1980.
Hmm.
And it's not a memory that is to be proud of, if you will, because I remember in the opening sequence when Chewie is welding the Falcon on Echo Base in
Hmm.
Hoth. Well, I started crying because I thought Chewie's going to singe his hair or electrocute himself. And my father's like, "You're embarrassing me," and took me out of the theater. I remember that. And I was 4. Funny enough, Empire is my favorite movie of all time and not just Star Wars now. So
Hmm.
that's really my origin story, is that I was so concerned that Chewie was going to hurt himself that that was my first experience in a movie theater with Star Wars.
I mean, a Wookiee welding is probably a safety hazard, but also there's absolutely no kind of OSHA or workplace regulations in the Star
I
Wars
mean, we
universe.
would we would have had railings,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
hilarious enough, the only OSHA we ever had in Star Wars is a character in Acrobat.
right. I almost have kind of wondered because Leslie Headland, I think is her name,
Yeah,
Halen Headland. It is a big Star Wars nerd. Like you don't throw in a Darth Plagueis cameo if you're not a huge Star Wars nerd. And I had that same thought. Like the only OSHA in Star Wars is OSHA, and
yeah.
I almost wonder if she kind of did that as like a little joke.
It's always tongue in cheek somewhere. So
Yeah, yeah. I kind of joke since you're a little older than I am. I was born when a little before Empire came out, and I kind of joke like I was born too early or too late to be an original trilogy kid. Like I was not able to see them in the theaters, but I was born too soon to be born too late to be an original trilogy, born too soon to be a prequel kid. Either way,
right,
like by the time the prequels came along, like I had watched Star Wars. I was into the expanded universe.
right.
The special editions had come out a couple of years ahead of time. So like the Star Wars fans they were targeting with the prequels were like, 9 years old. Well, I was 19 already.
Correct. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember seeing those when I was in college and going to the
yeah,
opening nights because they were 24 hours at that time. Like you can go to a midnight or 4 a.m. For the prequels.
yeah. I just was talking about this with somebody yesterday. Uh, I actually probably saw the first showing of Phantom Menace in my town because it was the summer after my freshman year of college. I was back home for the summer, and I had a friend who worked at a movie theater.
Right.
So I got to go to like the friends and family screening, which I'm pretty
Amazing.
sure was like the first one.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that was a midnight showing, and then like got home at 2 a.m. or a little after 2, went to bed, and then went to a midnight showing with some other friends the next night.
Yeah, I mean, I remember because I was in school in Boston,
Mhm.
in the suburbs of Boston, and I remember going to the midnight showing of Phantom Menace, and seeing everybody dress up like it was Rocky Horror, and
Mhm.
then when you see the long time ago, Galaxy Far Far Away, everybody throw their sabers in the air.
Yes.
I mean, if you watch the movie Fanboys, there's a perfect depiction of what that was like in the final scene of that movie.
Yeah, just I don't know. We have more entertainment options these days. Our culture is more there. You don't have like the monoculture like you did then. I don't. I don't think kids today, or anybody coming up with the Star Wars movies now, or even the sequel trilogy, can truly understand like the just how all consuming in culture Phantom Menace was, and like the hype leading up to it. Like people maybe you did this. Like people would go see Meet Joe Black at the theaters to watch the Phantom Menace trailer, and then
Right.
would walk out. Like Meet Joe Black probably made way more money than it should have,
Oh,
just because of that.
but the kids don't realize also, if you figure out, it's like that when they released the figures, the Midnight
Hmm.
Madness at Toys R Us or KB Toy
Yes.
Store, just to go get those figures.
Yep.
But also, I mean, that kind of bled over to the Potter universe for when the books would come out, because I
Hmm.
remember when Order of the Phoenix came out, there was Midnight Madness just to get the book. Like
Yeah, Barnes and
so.
Noble. I think we went to one for the last one, but yeah, like books 4 or 5, they really, that the Harry Potter Midnight Madness has kind of really started up.
What's interesting about the community today, or even Star Wars fans today, is that they don't realize or appreciate the dark times, as we called it. That for 16 years we had the Zahn books and the
Yep.
expanded universe, and now they don't have to wait for Star Wars again ever.
It is very weird thinking about, like, if you were 10 years old when The Force Awakens came out, that you had a movie a year for 5 years, and then you had to wait 7 whole years until another movie. Like, to tell that to somebody in our generation, like, you're going to get 5 movies in a row, but you're going to have to wait 7 years. Like, oh, I'll take that deal in a heartbeat. Yeah. All right. Enough of being, a couple old men yelling at clouds here. All right. I'm going to do, since you mentioned karaoke, we're going to call this the Force Lightning round.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a Star Wars character. I want you to tell me what you think their go-to karaoke song would be.
Ooh.
Ooh. All right. We appear to be good to go. Perfect. All right. All right. Pick this up again. All right. I'm going to do this. I call it the Force Lightning round. I am going to give you some Star Wars characters. I want you to tell me what you think their go-to karaoke song would be.
Okay.
All right. It could be in universe for Star Wars or in our galaxy, whichever one you think works.
Okay.
All right. We'll start with, Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker would be. I think he would be. I'm trying to think of something that like. I'm gonna go through the Disney catalog, and
Okay.
I think I could see Luke Skywalker saying "Go the Distance" from Hercules.
It's not a bad one. I was thinking, as soon as you said the Disney catalog, I was thinking maybe A Whole New World from Little Mermaid.
You mean Aladdin?
Oh yeah, you're right. It all blends together. Yes,
exactly.
Aladdin.
No, but I would say that because just it was that was the wimpy Hercules looking for purpose in the future. So
yeah. All right, that's a good one. All right, what about Han?
I would probably say Han is I would say maybe even like the Joker from Steve Miller Band.
That's a good one. All right, we're gonna stick with the original trilogy. How about Leia?
That song "Bitch" from the 90s.
What's her? I'm a bitch, I'm a lover, I'm a da 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 da.
Yeah.
I can't think of who sings that now.
But I'd probably say that because that's really all the Leia. So
yeah, I was thinking Destiny's Child, Who Runs the World Girls.
Yeah, that works too.
All right, how about Vader?
Head Like a Hole by 9 Inch Nails.
I like that. I saw them in concert earlier this year. That was a fun show.
I can't imagine.
All right, we're gonna do one last original trilogy, although he transcends trilogies, I guess. The Boss Man, Emperor Palpatine.
Boss Man. Ooh, because he would have been Head Like a Hole as well. He would have been great for that one. That's a really tough one. Now, are we talking just original trilogy, or are we talking about the fact that we somehow that came back and we don't like talking about?
We don't. Let's just stick with original trilogy Palpatine.
Okay. Let's just do a jokey one. Let's just say I'm Too Sexy by Right Said Fred.
I was thinking if you combined maybe like prequel Palpatine, Senator Palpatine, Chancellor Palpatine, Emperor Palpatine. Maybe War Pigs by Black Sabbath might be a good one.
That would be pretty good. Yeah, I would say that would be pretty really good. Yeah.
All right, couple more. We're gonna go Ahsoka. You can pick whichever generation of Ahsoka you like.
Uh, okay. I'm gonna change. First, I'm gonna change my Palpatine because I just thought of it for Ahsoka, and I was
Okay.
like, no, Palpatine would be killing in the name of by Rage Against the Machine.
But the irony, of course, is he is the machine.
Exactly. But he did tell her. But Ahsoka, I would probably say is. I would probably say who runs the world, girls.
That's
Beyonce.
a good one for her.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
I'd absolutely say that for Ahsoka.
All right, I got 3 more listed. We're gonna go with Rey Palpatine / Skywalker, whichever last name you want to use for her.
I would never call her Rey Skywalker. To me, that was too much like Rose Dawson in Titanic. Rey, I would say. Maybe like Viva La Vida from Coldplay.
Okay, that's not a bad one. All right, one more sequel trilogy. What would Kylo Ren do for karaoke?
Oh, that's easy. That's Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance.
I was like, pick your emo song, and that's what we're doing.
Well, the thing is, if you go to Mosh Isley, there is a Knights of Ren emo group that's run by Zach the Maker out of England, and they all dress like Mosh like emo versions of the Knights of Ren. But yeah, every time I hear Black Parade, I'm like, that is definitely Kylo's song.
Yeah, there was that. For those of you who remember Twitter when Twitter was actually good, there was that emo Kylo Ren Twitter account that came out after
Is
the
that
Force
kind of
Awakens.
redundant though?
Right. I think it was revealed it was run by Alexandra Petrie, who is a humor writer I don't know if she still works at the Washington Post, but she was a Washington Post humor writer for quite a while. All right, last one of my favorite characters of any era, Chopper.
I have to go back to I'm gonna have to double up on this one now because I think Killing in the Name on it is a great one for Choppa as well because he's a murder droid.
Right.
But I would probably say I'm gonna go with Bulls on Parade. No, okay. Palpatine, Bulls on Parade, Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name of for Chopper.
There you go. Those are some excellent choices. I think Chopper would definitely approve of that.
Oh yeah, because
I'm pretty sure Chopper's internal soundtrack is probably Rage Against the Machine.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I particularly love Rage. I love all their stuff. So I think that'd be great. But yeah, definitely I would say Bulls on Parade just because of the whole clone scenario for Palpatine. But Killing in the Name of and F you, I won't do what you tell me is definitely Chopper.
All right. I think we were about to wrap this up. Spencer, thanks for coming on again. I really appreciate it. Tell people where they can find the Virtual Cantina Network and info for Boonta Eve.
Absolutely. So if you're on Facebook, if you go to Virtual Cantina, type in Virtual Cantina Network, you'll come across Star Wars Celebration Los Angeles 2027 group / Virtual Cantina Network. We're the one that is over 103,000 people worldwide. So you can find us on there. You can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/@Virtual Cantina Network. We're on Instagram at virtual.cantina network and on X. That still sounds wrong to me to say I'm on X, but at Cantina Virtual for that one. But you can find out all of our information, but also you can find out information about all of our events, tickets for all of our Virtual Cantina events, including Boonta Eve, Texas, as well as Boonta Eve, Rhode Island. If you go to www.virtualcantinanetwork.com, DSHR.com or even to boontoeve.com.
All right, and we will have links to all that in the show notes below. As always, you can follow the Death Star Human Resources Department at www.deathstarhr.com. Spencer, thanks for coming on again. We'll be back in a couple weeks with another podcast, and may the Force be with you.
May the Force with you all.